So today was the drawing for
Yes.
the ballot position.
Yeah.
And you had the awesome chance to be there. Unfortunately, I could not make it in person.
Yeah.
So share what that was
Yeah.
like and walk us through it.
So it's a little like 30 by 30 room. There's members of the Camden County Board of Elections. The clerk, Pam Lampert, was there. There was like a rope that like their kind of half of the room and our half of the room. Lots of friends, lots of progressive South Jersey liberals there who were there watching and monitoring. Um, and before it starts, Pam Lampert asked, is there anybody have any questions about what we're about to do? And procedurally, what they do is they have all the names written on pieces of paper, and then they roll them up and they put them on these little tubes. And I said,
Can I touch the vials?
Sure.
I'd like to touch all of them if I could.
You want to touch all of them?
Yeah.
Sure.
Anybody that knows how Patrick Ewing ended up in New York?
first question, I was like, would you mind if I touch the tubes? And she looked at me like I was kind of crazy. But like, I just wanted to make sure, that they hadn't, thrown him in the freezer to make a particular one colder than the others. So she thought I was crazy, but Joe Bouvier was there, and he said, no, the Knicks tried this in 1984 when they tried to draft Patrick Ewing. So I was like, exactly, Joe. Joe gets it.
Joe gets it.
Yeah, so it was pretty cool.
That's awesome. So spoiler alert, we got the top spot.
We are number one. Yeah.
You know, and I can't help but sort of just like soak in all the obstacles we've been through. Like first they changed the number of signatures we need.
Yeah.
Dream.
Yeah.
Then they try to kick us off the ballot by challenging some of our signatures.
Yeah.
It prevailed. That was just Monday,
Yeah.
a year ago.
Yeah.
And here we are on Thursday for the ballot drawing, and it's random. It's 50-50 shot, right?
Yeah.
Are you appearing first, or am I appearing? Like, how is that?
So it very interesting because we're bracketed, and I guess we had the chance if we wanted to. I don't completely understand this. If we wanted to separate, I think we could have done that on the ballot, but we chose to check the box to appear together as Democrats for Change on the ballot.
Yeah.
So we essentially the drawing was there's four of us running. The drawing was for the first two spots and then the second two spots.
Got it.
And so you will appear at the top of the ballot. Rebecca Holloway, Democrats for Change. I will appear second. Kevin Ryan, Democrats for Change. Third will be Lou Greenwald, and this is their name, Camden County Democrats Incorporated. And then
Can we talk about that for a second?
I was like, did I hear? I turned to Dave Stahl, and I was like, did I hear that right there? This is my first, ballot drawing. So I was like,
right.
They think that's gonna. That I was like, okay, Camden County Democrats Incorporated is their slogan.
Camden County Democrats Incorporated. We're gonna just let that sit there for a second in the air. We call them the machine. We've heard the term Norcross Enterprise from our Attorney General, Matt Placken, but to literally have their slogan memorialize that is, the jokes write themselves.
Right? Like I was like,
right.
I thought I was getting punked. I was like, there's no way.
No way.
They sat down around a committee table and would like, we should make our slogan. Like we should add that INC that like law firms add to the back. I was like, what are you guys doing? Totally hilarious. But you know what? We'll take it.
Yeah. And some good news for some of our other fellow progressive candidates who also got the first slot, I know, in Legislative District 4, Brian Everett and Vanetta Hawkins. Yeah. So like great news there. This is, we just keep like bursting through these barriers that they put in front of us. This one obviously is just part of the process and luck of the draw.
Well, let's take credit for it. I mean, I don't know.
But thanks for checking to make sure they didn't stick anything in the freezer. I do appreciate that.
I don't know. It was a little bit funny, but I was like, look, if you're going to cheat, that's how you do it, right?
Right, exactly.
And make sure, just want not implying anything, but just wanted to make sure.
Yeah.
Also, Becky, we were not there.
Burlington County.
Legislative District 6 also includes Maple Shade, which is in Burlington County.
Yes. Where we also got the top.
Where we were also in top position on the Burlington County ballot as well. So
yeah,
it's
for Maple Shade specifically.
For Maple Shade, yes.
Yeah. That's awesome.
In case that wasn't confusing enough about how Legislative District 6 works. So,
just to remind all of the folks who may be watching this video and are unfamiliar, and definitely check out our video that we did on the county line.
Yeah.
Because this is something that we talk a lot about in New Jersey politics, especially lately. So for those who do not know, our junior senator, Andy Kim, who was elected to the U.S. Senate last year, brought a lawsuit regarding the ballot design in New Jersey. New Jersey was the only state in the country, one of 50, only one, that does essentially what looks like an Excel sheet, kind of grid style for primaries. Every other state does them in block ballots. So each office gets its own block. So all the candidates for governor would be in a block, all the candidates for Senate, and so on. And it takes away any kind of special placement in that number one column, which was the coveted spot. And there was a lot of work done to push any kind of challengers way out into ballot Siberia. I've been in ballot Siberia, not the furthest. I know there are some folks who have been, literally the ballot folds out multiple times.
Right. On the back. Yes. Insane.
Camden City. There's some YouTube videos you can check out. It is wild. No more. And so we are now getting to experience what it's actually like having I'm not going to say a fair ballot, because I definitely disagree with some of the design elements for this year, but it is a fairer ballot. It is definitely a step in the right direction.
Because the whole concept of the county Democratic parties can somehow have a say in how the information is presented on the ballot, and deliberately build bias into the design of the ballot and where the placement goes.
Right. Because what would happen is if you were running without bracketing with other offices and you get pushed out into ballot Siberia, invariably a voter who looks at the ballot thinks that these sort of single candidates floating around in the right-hand columns are not legitimate. They're not real. They're not serious, which is just totally the unfairness of placement. And Rutgers has done, there's a political science professor who has done some studies. You can, again, find it on Google. And it gives—
Shout out Julia Sass-Rubin.
Yes, exactly. Thank you.
That paper was awesome.
Yeah. So anywhere between like a 35 and a 38 percentage point advantage off the bat, right? So you're starting 35 points ahead.
Or 35-0 before the game even starts.
Right. And so we're working to unrig these systems that are designed to keep power consolidated with a few.
And to that point, Becky, we had a pretty good week. We did.
A
pretty good week.
And we know there are other hard weeks ahead. So when you get these good weeks, you gotta
I know.
enjoy it. So
you do. Yeah.
Thank you for showing up. I'm glad you could be there.
It was awesome.
We've got some footage we'll intersperse with this, I'm sure. But yeah, good stuff. And
we're number one.
Number one. Democrats for change. So, all right, cool.
All right, Becky.
All right. See ya.
Bye.